All right, good evening, everybody. Today we're going to be doing the practice and problem solving for solving two-step equations. Let's begin with number 6, which means I'm doing all the even ones tonight. Number 6 says use the bar diagram to help you solve 4x minus 12 equals 16. Well, they're saying here that 16 and then they have 12 over here, and it's going to be equal to 4x's. Now, why is it that they're saying that this is equal to 4x's when up here it makes it look like 4x minus 12, when in essence it's really the same thing. Let's watch. If I have 4x minus 12 equals 16, remember I have to do PEMDAS backwards. And if I do PEMDAS backwards, and that means I have to do, let me put this highlighter here, the addition and subtraction first, okay? Then I will do the multiplication and division last, all right? So let's try that. First, we'll do addition and subtraction. The addition here and subtraction is the negative 12. The multiplication is the 4 times x. So I have to do the negative 12 first because I'm subtracting. Now remember, I have to do the opposite operation of whatever I see there, because when I'm solving equations, I do everything backwards. I do PEMDAS backwards, and I do the operations backwards. So if I have negative 12, the inverse is going to be positive 12. Oh, change my color here. Positive 12. And now the rules say that whatever I do to one side of the equal sign, I have to do to the other side of the equal sign. So that means I have to add 12 to this side. Now some might say, why am I getting rid of this 12? Remember, the objective is to get x all by itself. So I have to get everything else, all the numbers on this side, and get x alone. So now 12 minus 12 is 0, so I got rid of that. That leaves me with 4x. And now you can see where I have 16 plus 12. Well, look over here, 16 plus 12 equals 4x's. Does everybody see that? 16 plus 12, 16 and 12, 1, 2, 3, 4x's, 4x's. So 16 and 12 are going to make 28. And now I do the opposite operation of multiplication. Since I'm multiplying here, I'm going to divide. I divide by the same number that is my coefficient, and that way I'm able to use the method of the same number over itself is always equal to 1. Now I have 1x over 1, which is just x. And that helps me because now whatever I divide from one side, I have to divide from the other. And I know that 28 divided by 4 is 7. So I use the bar diagram to show me that when I have 28, if I divide it by 4, that's going to equal 7. All right, now that we've solved 6, let's go to 8, because I'm going to leave number 7 for you. Use the bar diagram to write an equation and then solve for x. Okay, well, the bar diagram is going to make me have 7 plus 5 equals 3x's. Now it says I'm going to write an equation. Now I would not write an equation like 7 plus 5 equals 3x. That's not really an equation, because really 7 and 5 is just going to be 12 equals 3x. An equation would be 3x, and if I'm adding 5 over here, I would put minus 5 over here. Okay? And I would put that it was equal to 7. Just like we had up here, 16 was equal to 12 plus 4x. Now we have 16 was equal, or to 4x minus 12, excuse me, minus 12. over here we have 7 is equal to 3x minus 5. Now, then they want us to solve it. Well, we know we're going to add 5 to this side, which means we'll add 5 to this side. And that's where we get the 12. 7 and 5 is going to make 12, right? And we know that 3x's have to equal 12. Well, this is like saying what times 3 is going to equal 12. To do it the proper way, we divide 3 away, which leaves x by itself. But whatever I divide from one side, I have to divide from the other. And 12 minus 3, as you might have guessed already, is 4. That means my answer is x equals 4. All right? Number 9 is yours to do, which means number 10 is mine to do. It says solve the equation 0.5p minus 3.45 is equal to negative 1.2. Once again, we're going to follow the rules doing PEMDAS backwards. If I do that, I do addition and subtraction first. This is multiplication, so that means I'm going to have to deal with this number that is a negative number first. Well, the inverse of negative 3.45, of course, is positive 3.45. The question I always have to ask of myself is, what can I combine with this number that will give me 0? And the opposite number is always the number that's going to give me 0. Well, if I add 3.45 to this side, I have to add 3.45 to this side. And now I have one negative number and one positive number. And I remember my rule when I'm dealing with numbers is the big number minus the small number. Keep the number sign of the big number. So over here I'm looking at 3.45 minus 1.2. And notice how I line up my decimal point. I have to remember that this is going to be a 0 here. And that's going to leave me 5, 2, and my decimal point goes there, which leaves me another 2. So this is going to be 2.25. And since my bigger number is positive, it'll be a positive number. So I know now that 0.5p, remember I have to bring down what's left up here. We already got rid of this. And now I have to say, how do I get rid of that 0.5 next to p so I can get p by itself? Well, I'm going to have to divide it by 0.5. And of course, whatever I divide from one side, I divide from the other. Now remember that every fraction is really a division problem. So I have to ask myself, what is 2.25 divided by 0.5? Well, 2.25 divided by 0.5. Let's do the math. Well, we know that we have to move our decimal over, which means we move this decimal over 1. So our new decimal placement is there. How many times does 5 go into 22? Well, that'd be 4 times, because 5 times 4 is 20. That's going to leave me 25. And how many times does 5 go into 25? 5, of course. That means my answer has to be 4.5. All right, let's move on to number 12 now. Well, it says here in number 12 that a group of 4 friends went to the movies. In addition to their tickets, they bought a large bag of popcorn to share for $6.25. The total that they spent at the movie was $44.25. First, they wanted us to write and solve an equation to find the cost of one movie ticket, which we want to call M. Well, the first thing I have to think of is, what was the total? The total was $44.25. We know that has to be on one side of the equal sign, because everything's going to equal that. Now we have 4 friends, but we also know that we have a movie ticket here, right? So we know that there are 4 people going to the movies, so that's going to be 4 times M. They all shared the popcorn. They didn't each buy an individual bag of popcorn, so they're going to add $6.25 through their cost. And now we have our equation. The first thing we have to do is depend this backwards again. So we're going to look at this plus 625, realize that's the addition in it. We need to add the inverse to it, which is negative 6.25 to get rid of it. That will make it 0 on this side. But whatever I do to one side, I have to be willing to do to the other side. I'm into equality. Now I have a subtraction problem on this side to solve. Well, this is 0. This is 0. And we're going to have to borrow one from here. And that's going to make 838. And now we bring down everything that we didn't get rid of. Well, we never got rid of that 4m. Now we have to see how do we get rid of the 4 away from the m? Well, we're doing multiplication whenever we have a number next to a variable. So I can only solve that by doing division, the opposite of multiplication. I'll divide it by the coefficient, which will give me 4 over 4, which I know is really, anytime a number is over itself, it's 1. So now I have 1m. But I know whatever I divide from one side, I have to divide from the other side. And now I've got 38 divided by 4. Well, let's see, 38 divided by 4. I know that 4 goes into 38 9 times, because 9 times 4 is 36. That gives me 2 left over. I can always rely on my decimal point to help me take care of the rest of it by putting a 0 here after the 2. And now 4 goes into 20 5 times. So that means m has to equal 9.5. Now remember, we're talking about money here, because it's saying how much is the cost of a movie ticket. So if I'm looking at 9.5, I'm thinking $9.50. All right, so the cost of a movie ticket the cost of one movie ticket is $9.50. All right, let's try part B now of 12. It says here, draw a model to represent this situation. Well, if I'm going to draw a model of this, it said that 4m plus 625 has to equal 4425. So if I was to draw a model, I think I would put over here 625 and then over here I'd make 4 boxes that were each going to be m. And this is going to represent 4 movie tickets plus $6.25 for popcorn. And then I would say that all this has to equal $44 and 25 cents. That would be my model. All right, we're off to number 14 now. It says use the equation 4.9x minus 1.9 equals 27.5. All right, make sense and preserve. What 2 properties of equality do you need to use to solve this equation? What 2 properties of equality do I need to solve, or do I need to use to solve this equation? So if I was going to work this problem, which I have to find a solution down here, so I guess I'll see what I'm going to use. 4.9x minus 1.9 equals 27.5. The first property of equality that I'm going to need to use, since I have a negative 1.9, is to add 1.9, and that means I'm going to use the addition property of equality. Okay, so first I'll use the addition property of addition. Let's see, addition property of equality. Okay, so first use addition property of equality, and then let's see what we're going to have to use next. Once we use the addition property of equality, remember whatever I used do to one side, I have to do the other, so this is going to be 1.9 over here. Since I'm adding 5 plus 9 is 14, I carry the 1, and that's going to give me 7, 8, 9. Don't forget my decimal. And then I have the 2. So now I know that 4.9x has to equal 29.4. Again, I'm going to use, if I'm multiplying here, now I'm going to have to use the division property of equality. So that tells me what the next one will be. Let's see. First use addition property of equality, and then use the division property of equality. All right, so that settles that answer. And now to apply it. Using the division property of equality, since I'm multiplying here, I do the opposite, which is division. I'm going to divide 4.9 away from x. And whatever I divide from one side, I have to divide from the other side. Well, this is going to go ahead and get rid of that, which leaves me x by itself. Now I have to find out what is 29.4 divided by 4.9. Well, let's try this. 29.4 divided by 4.9. Well, we're going to have to move that decimal over. So we'll move this one over. And that'll put our decimal right here. How many times does 49 go into 294? Wow. Well, I know that 4 times 5 is 20. So I'm going to try, well, and then 4 times 4 is, 4 times 6 will be 24. 4 times 7 is 28. But 5 times, let's see, I'm going to go with, I think, 6. There's a reason for that, because I know 9 times 6 equals 54, and this ends in 4. So I'm hoping I get lucky here. I'll carry my 5, and 4 times 6 is 24. 24 plus 5 is 29. And look at that, I did get lucky. That fits into it perfectly 6 times. So 294, that leaves me 0 as a remainder. And so x has to equal 6. All right, and I think that's all that I had for tonight. And the rest is for you to do. So I will see you in class tomorrow. Have a good one. Oops, I almost forgot. I never gave you guys a password for this week, did we? So along with placing my 6 here, let's get our secret code out of the way. And I'm going to let you guys know what I have been eating for dinner tonight, because It's right on the container that I'm drinking from. Here is your secret code word for the week. Whataburger. And I know you're thinking I'm dumb, right? But at the bottom of it, it says family owned and operated. All right, there is your secret code word for the week. Have that on your homework, and you've won a treat from me. Have a great night, everybody, and good luck.